An interesting week in the world of sports, especially this weekend. In a weekend where Kofi, Arsenal, Liverpool serve as, great entertaining football. But then there's a twist to the title race. The race to the title becomes very interesting. Also, in a week where we see Frank Lampard appointed as the interim manager, for awkward decision, but lots to talk about today and on the show. But hey, good evening to you out there doing the watching and doing the listening. We are live on Taddy FM 99.1, but we are also live on YouTube. If you have not subscribed yet, click the subscription button. Very, very important. Like our videos as you join us in for this particular show. Just like the videos and comment in the comment section. We're doing this with you, and for those watching us from the diaspora, very, very important. Keep the super stickers coming like you've always been doing. Show us some love with the super stickers. We appreciate you for being a part of this show. This is our Sunday show, the Sports Roundup show, where we bring you a recap of every single thing that has happened in the world of sports. We take a proper nosedive into the weightier and the meatier issues. Kofi,
yep.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Happy Resurrection Sunday.
Beautiful Sunday.
Why would it be beautiful? You're excited.
I am. It's been a while I was this excited, and I'm very excited. It was a great service, and for a long time, I had to lead one of the songs.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I did.
For those who don't know, Kofi is a musician.
Yes, I did. And I'm telling you, the modulations that we did, we ran through like 5 skills.
Don't confuse some of us. But there's no better place to start off from than the Liverpool-Arsenal game.
Yeah.
Let's take it from the perspective of what you saw from Arsenal. Did they prove to you that they are proper title contenders in terms of they being worthy of lifting the Premier League title? Especially if you look at how Arsenal played in the first half, especially the first 30 minutes, came out of the blocks explosive, were running riot all around Liverpool until I think somewhere around the 47th minute, they allowed Mo Salah to get that goal. Then the Anfield spirit took over. They couldn't, keep up the same momentum in the second half. But more importantly, I want us to first look at Arsenal. Character-wise, you still doubt?
Well,
Did today go ahead to more or less re-echo your sentiment that Arsenal cannot win the title?
Yes, I think that today further re-echoes that sentiment, or it strengthens that sentiment that I've always had, that Arsenal cannot win the league title. I'm glad that you spoke about the fact that we need to talk about Arsenal in two folds. In one breath, I think they surprised me a bit. In another breath, it was same old Arsenal not being able to get over the line, because it was imperious that Arsenal got the 3 points tonight, and it was absolutely a must that if they were going to have any sort of advantage going into the final stretch. Now, I think that Arsenal gets to play its 30th game today. So basically, they do have eight more games to play. So it's 24 points for them. So it was always imperious that if they were going to get away from Anfield with any sort of thing, it had to be non-negotiable. It had to be 3 points or nothing. I was surprised because, one, Arsenal came out of the blocks very early. And I think that Liverpool could not find an antidote to the early onslaughts by Arsenal.
That's true.
They played very well, and they played the way they've been playing all season. If anyone has watched this show, we've constantly spoken about the fact that when Arsenal are at their fluent best, what they do is that they create overloads in the midfield, and then they replicate those overloads in the width, on the left and on the right. You understand? Whichever way it works for them. Today, the right side of the attack wasn't too potent. I think that most of the threat had to come from Zinchenko and Martinelli. So when Arsenal are their fluent bits, that's what they do. They create overloads, and then you could see somebody like Zinchenko being a main figure in that particular creation of overload. And so what he did was that he freed a lot more Martinelli. Martinelli had a lot of space and time to deal with Trent Alexander-Arnold and whoever, Konate, who was running the right side of the Liverpool defense. So Arsenal came out of the block, scored 2 beautiful goals, and could have indeed scored a lot more. But I think that once Liverpool got that goal towards the end of the first half, the old demons that have always hunted us now, because listen, this was one of the tests that they needed to pass, because for a long time Arsenal have not really had any sort of results going in their favor. Indeed, I mean, to put it on proper emphasis, Arsenal could probably walk away with a draw excited. But in the context of the conversation, I think that 1 point is not even enough, because you look at City. What technically this means is that Arsenal are 6 points ahead of City at this material time. City have the superior goal difference, and then City have a game in hand, and potentially could play Arsenal. I said potentially, yes. I mean, they play Arsenal at the Etihad. You understand? So, all things being equal, hypothetically, if City gets over the game in hand, what they do is that they have to wait for Arsenal at the Etihad. And when they come to Etihad and City beats Arsenal at the Etihad, which I expect to happen, it means that City have firm control of the title race again. And so, what would Arsenal do playing catch up? I have always said that anything but 3 points today would probably have put some of my rants to bed, because I have said that on trend analysis alone, City have proven time without number that they are a team that's capable of going on a wild stretch. You understand? They have done it time without number. All of the times that the City have won the league title in recent history, they've had to go on a run towards the end of the league. 13, 12, 14, 15 matches, 16 matches unbeaten. So
there was actually a time they went 22.
Exactly the point. Exactly the point. So if you're looking for a team that's able to go the final haul, if you're looking for a team that has characters, that has all the personalities in place to be able to go 10, 15, 20 matches unbeaten towards the end, you cannot look beyond this City team. They have so much experience. They have people who have been able to negotiate some of these curves in their dressing room. And I think that's where the advantage lies for City and the disadvantage lies for Arsenal. Once again, back to the game. And I think that, I honestly think that there are lots of things that Arsenal need to do right. Indeed, anybody who watched the game will tell you that it is a surprise that this game had to end in a draw. This game shouldn't have ended in a draw.
Where were you surprised? Because on the part of Liverpool, on the part of Arsenal, where does the surprise lie?
Well,
because for Arsenal fans, they will look at it. We literally threw away 3 points, but at some point we feel like it's 1 point gain because they were on the ascendancy. They had the momentum. They sailing their winds. They had gone 2-0 up. They were at some point, seemingly, it looked like they were losing the game. So it's just like a double-edged sword. They were winning 3 points. At some point, they were gaining 1 point. So where lies the surprises?
Well, the surprise lies in the fact that in games like this, it's all about the moment. And if you look at the whole game holistically, if you put everything in proper perspective, you realize that this was a game where Liverpool had the most moments.
Yeah.
You understand? Yes, you can count how many chances Arsenal had to create in the second half. But you look at Liverpool, you look at the fact that they had to play a draw with Salah being this lethargic. I've not seen Salah this lethargic in a while. You understand? I mean, if Salah had 50%, 60% of the Salah we have come to know, we would not be having this conversation now. Then you had chances falling in the end to people like Konate. I mean, I literally jumped up out of my sofa.
He's not scored
no,
for
but
Liverpool
I mean,
yet.
But I mean, this is you playing at the cup end. This is you expecting everything to fall because they were literally throwing the kitchen sink at us now.
Are you faulting for that chance miss? Because for me, the ball literally came to hit him in a position, or he was taking a he had already taken a stance with which he couldn't play the ball with his leg, neither could he play the ball with his head or head the ball inside. He only had the option of chesting the ball, into the net. But why not give credit to, Ramsdale?
No, but if you had the option of chesting the ball, generate power, chest it. You have to chest it.
I think it's more about the momentum with which he was running towards the ball.
Well, I mean, I agree with you, but I mean, this was virtually unpardonable. I mean, that he had his hands on his head. When I watch football matches, the reaction of players tell me everything because they are the best judges of situations and scenarios like that. Where that he had his hands on his head. It should tell you that he knew that he didn't do his best at that particular material time.
So for me, as much as I agree with you. The bit that I still feel that Arsenal fans should not lose hope. Yes, it's looking increasingly likely that. Listen, at this particular moment, Arsenal would have to win every single game they have at their disposal. Next week, they go away to the West Ham Stadium, London, to play West Ham, who are battling relegation. On paper, it looks like a game that Arsenal should win because West Ham have been struggling. But from there, they again play away to City at the Etihad Stadium. Then they play at home against Chelsea. They play against Nottingham Forest. They take on the likes of Newcastle. Are run by the Arsenal fans. They are remaining 8 games, as well as City's remaining 8 games. But this is 9 games. City have 9 games because they have a game in hand. But this is where I want Arsenal fans should still be hopeful that they are winning the league. I still feel that they are winning the league because in this particular game, like you said, Arsenal came out of the blocks, explosively very, very well. But in a game that I feel Arsenal should have lost, because from the second half, Liverpool had everything going for them. The fans, the momentum, everything. Arsenal seemingly had dropped in terms of gear. Their midfield was a bit slow, especially after we're speaking of Xhaka had taken that yellow card. It slowed the midfield. They weren't able to move the ball very well. One of the things they did so well was to exploit the pace by Martinelli, and also the fact that Trent Alexander-Arnold would always push forward, and he lacks a lot of positional sense. That's one of his deficiencies.
Well, I wouldn't want to say that. I think that if you watch Trent Alexander-Arnold play for this Liverpool team across the years, what he's done is that every time they have possession, he becomes an auxiliary midfielder. Exactly. So he tacks into the midfield. Same things Zinchenko does with this
similar things Arsenal
City do it and do it so well. So you have people like when Cancelo used to be there, you have people like Cancelo, or you have people like Nathan Ake, John Stones, whichever one it is, or this British boy tack into the midfield.
Rico
and then
Lewis?
No, the one who used to play with Tottenham Hotspur. I mean, I'll get the name around. Kyle Walker. So when they play like auxiliary midfielder. Yeah. So when you have somebody who has pace and has a bag of trickery up his sleeves, like Martinelli, what they do is that you're always falling back. You're always catching up. You understand?
That's where I feel that Arsenal could have exploited that more. They didn't exploit the spaces that was left behind by Alexander because
bombing forward.
He was. Martinelli was their major source of attacking outlet, but they didn't exploit it so well. Maybe so much of his also failure, especially in the second half when he had the opportunity to go one-on-one at Konate and the likes. I felt that there were moments his decisions cost the team so well. Then also one player that did not really come to the party is Saka, Bukayo Saka. In this game, the typical Saka that we know will run at defenders would literally be the man that would make things take for Arsenal today. He didn't come to the party.
Well, not just Saka. I think that Odegaard also had an underwhelming game.
An underwhelming game. That's very true.
I'm surprised you don't want to talk about your party.
So let's look at. We are still looking at Arsenal. Mm-hmm. Let's look at some of the major culprits in today's game who really did not turn up. So we've made mention of Bukayo Saka,
Yeah.
when mention of Odegaard. That's
Odegaard,
very
yeah.
true. He had a very underwhelming game. Partey himself in the first half very assertive,
Yeah.
but in the second half, I don't know
Ran
what
off chair a
happened.
bit.
Who else?
Well, I think that defensively, Shevchenko lets them down. He lets them down.
Is it
a
because
couple
of that
occasions.
that I don't know what he was thinking, allowing Trent Trent to go by him, that cheeky is putting the ball through his legs.
I don't know, but I would not want to blame the defender. I think that I would want to credit Trent Alexander-Arnold. I think that was class from Trent Alexander-Arnold.
That was smart.
That was smart, very smart. I mean,
I was thinking he would rather go past him,
exactly,
try and outwit him
exactly.
in terms of going by him by putting the ball around him instead of just through his legs.
No, but the issue with Trent has never been about his prowess going forward. Trent has always been an excellent outlet for getting goals and providing assists when going forward.
Yeah.
And so what he did offensively in that moment did not really surprise me, because this is the Trent Alexander-Arnold. The only issue we've always had with Trent is finding the right balance between going forward and then defending.
His positional sense, especially
terrible.
when he is defending.
Terrible.
His spatial awareness is very poor. How would you rate Rob Holding today? I think he was superb.
Well, I think he was superb. I mean, I for a long time this season, Arsenal have had to play with Saliba and then Gabriel. I think that of the two central defenders that had to play today, Gabriel was the weakest link.
That's true.
Yes, it is true that he had a good game, particularly keeping Salah in his pocket. I think that he's the reason why Salah had an off day today, constantly on him. But the few times he let Salah go and had to defend somewhere in the 18, Gabriel was he's a player who constantly has to keep his concentration levels up, lest he loses concentration.
He always has his arms around defenders when he's defending. That's a recipe for disaster.
I don't know, but anytime I see Gabriel, I am reminded of Chris Smalling. I don't know, but anytime I see Gabriel, I mean, they're always wanting to hold somebody, you understand? But I think that Holding was excellent. I mean, when I saw the team sheet, I felt that was the one spot that Liverpool could exploit. He's not the quickest, you understand? So when I saw the team sheet and then I saw that, he had to run against the likes of the Salahs, he had to run against the likes of the Jotas, he had to go up against Gakpo. I felt that they were going to exploit his lack of pace and the weakness in his game. That is probably due to the lack of pace. And Holding has always had these demons in the past. Yeah. He's played good games and then he messes it up with a terrible mistake, you understand? So I felt that was one point that Liverpool could exploit, but Holding held his own. I am surprised I'm saying this, but Holding really held his own. And at a certain point, he was the reason why Arsenal had to walk away with a point.
So, guys, what do you make of the Arsenal team? I still hold my ground. I'm still, going for Arsenal. I did, put out a bet that Arsenal would win this league, and I'm still believing that Arsenal will win the league. But what do you think? Do you still think that after dropping two crucial points, like we've said, very, very crucial, because as we speak, City have a game in hand. If they win, it's hypothetical in nature. If they win, it means that Arsenal only, lead City by just 3 points. 3 points, which could easily, be made up or easily cancelled if City, again, hypothetical, if City beat Arsenal at Etihad in 2 weeks' time, that game would probably be one bloody game to watch and to look out for. But guys, what do you think? Do you still think that Arsenal have everything it takes to win the league? I'll take some few comments in the comment section very soon. But if you are doing the watching, you are watching us live, and if you are listening to us on Tadi FM 99.1. And please continue to keep the super stickers coming. Thank you so much to those who have sent us super stickers showing so much love. Keep them coming. We appreciate the love and the support. Now let's switch the conversation to Liverpool. And I have some few things to say about Liverpool,
Yeah, you should say.
And for me,
those are very unpopular
opinions.
Yes,
it's very unpopular. It may not sit well with a lot of Liverpool fans, but I will repeat or I'll reiterate these words. I think it's high time at the end of the season, the hierarchy at Liverpool considered letting go of Jurgen Klopp. The man has done great. The man has done very well. Great in terms of where he picked Liverpool.
He's done great.
One thing that, if you've realized, there was something about Liverpool. Liverpool were always built on personalities, individual personalities. Robbie Fowler. So in the Liverpool were always an individualistic team. Robbie Fowler, Michael Owen, Steven Gerrard. Even at some point, Luis Suarez. What's his name? The Spanish striker, Fernando Torres.
Yes.
But under Jurgen Klopp's tenure, what he did was put together a system that brought together talent. So even in the Liverpool team that won the Champions League, won the league, and won some few domestic trophies, it was not so much about an individual person. Yes, Salah was good.
It's about the collective.
The collective, the unit. He built a solid unit and a system that functioned with unit. But Kofi, a system is as good as the unit in there.
Yeah.
If the unit fail, the system automatically crumbles. And in 7 years, this is where I hold Jurgen Klopp responsible. In 7 years, you should be able to see that at some point the individual elements in those units will get weak. Like, how do I replace them? Because you need to have a backup plan. You need to have a rebuild plan. You don't wait till the entire project crumbles before you want to rebuild. Because I feel that's one thing I always commend Real Madrid. Real Madrid always seem to find they are rebuilding, but you will never know.
They rebuild right in front
They
of
rebuild right in front of you. In the process of the game, they are rebuilding. City have adopted that model as well. Fernandinho is fading out. They quickly find somebody to replace him. Gundogan is fading out. They'll quickly find somebody to replace him. But the striker that left, Aguero is leaving. They find somebody to replace him. In 7 years, City still look fresh. City could have said, okay, we are also rebuilding. So, and if you watch this Liverpool side, listen, Jurgen Klopp, yes, he's bought well, but he has bought a lot of players that have failed to deliver more than the players that have delivered, in my honest opinion. Look at the players that he's bought that have, for me, are failing to deliver. He brought in the likes of Carvalho. You buy a player for a reason. What was Carvalho bought for?
To be a supplement to the attack.
To what?
To the attack. Well, I think I agree
somebody
with you.
like Arthur. Why would you and you see you need to be held responsible for your actions and for your own words. This is a coach who says that I do not need a midfielder, when clearly all of us have said, even those who are not great sports analysts, there's a problem with this Liverpool midfield. The Liverpool midfield is very, very weak, very poor. Fix it. Then when you realize that, no, I made a big blunder, you go like, okay, I need a midfield. Then I need a midfielder. In you getting a midfielder, Kofi, who does you go for? An Arthur Melo, who has not even played for Juventus for God knows how long. So these are some of the few things, coupled with the fact that this team, Kofi, this draw is not down to coaching. It was down to the Anfield euphoria and the momentum and the fact that they were playing at home. Listen, on any given day, if this game was being played at outside Anfield, Liverpool would have lost this game. Because in the first half, they would have been blown away. In the second half, they wouldn't have gotten this same momentum and the wind in their sail to perform the way they perform. There's very little coaching going on in this Liverpool team. And it's down to the manager. I do not know what you think. Maybe I may sound like, somebody may say it's too one bad season.
No, I don't think that you've not said anything that doesn't have to be said.
That's
fine. I mean, everybody has their opinion. I've stated on this show in times past that Liverpool are behaving like a mediocre entity. Why would you say that Jurgen Klopp is still manager of this team after the heights and the depths of failures that they've had to go through? No, you see, I have always said that this is a team that were fighting for 4 trophies last season.
Yeah, they won 2 out of them. Let's put
exactly.
That
so they won the FA Cup, they won the Carabao Cup. They lost out in the Premier League. They lost out in the Champions League final. You do not get a team that is functioning at that level to fall this low.
That is a problem.
I mean, and for people who do not know, there is more than enough information out there. There's more than enough information in terms of sports science, in terms of statistics, in terms of data, to suggest that anytime you've built a team, the most key components can go for the units to turn around. Exactly. It's 4-5 years. You understand? And I mean, this is public knowledge.
Yeah.
When was the last time Liverpool bought an elite midfielder? When Liverpool were in their pomp, when Liverpool was Liverpool, when they were all over the place in Europe and domestically, it was because one,
they had a
player, the Gengen press.
They had a player in Fabinho who was on top of his game.
What Liverpool did when they were in their pomp was that they hounded opponents into submission.
Forgotten Jorginho
Wijnaldum, they literally hounded opponents into submission. Yeah. So what will happen ideally is that, yes, we all know that Van Dijk is not the best of defenders, but you never saw it because anytime Liverpool lost the ball, the amount of time they took to regain the possession was very limited. You understand? I mean, we've all heard fairy tales and folk tales about Pep Guardiola and his Barcelona team. Yeah. That they had a policy that if they lost the ball, they win it back after 2 seconds, not beyond 8 seconds. You understand? So these were the things. And for me, the club has been able to see this. The funny thing is that, please, if you're watching the show, maybe I could be wrong, but there is no way, there's no data available to suggest the club has overseen any rebuild.
That's the thing.
There's no data available. The club has overseen any rebuild. I mean, listen, if you go back to his very first team, he brought the team out of relegation, got them back into the Bundesliga. They were relegated again, you understand? And then he never got them to the heights again, had to leave, got to Dortmund. They did all of the things that they needed to do. When they hit the low of lows, he was clueless.
To add to your point, when he was at Mainz, in all those two situations or scenarios, when he left, the team was that bad that the managers had to literally break down the team to rebuild. Tuchel did that with Mainz after Jurgen Klopp left because he left the team in a very terrible state. Likewise, after he had done exploits with Borussia Dortmund, winning the league with them and all of that, he left Dortmund in a very terrible state. Tuchel again had to pick the team up, break the team up, and rebuild. That's my fear because listen, if you look at the trajectory of the EPL, teams are not sitting back waiting for you. Look at Liverpool, Chelsea. The season they are having one of their worst terrible seasons. 2 teams pop up, Newcastle pop up, and Newcastle, hey, we are taking the mantle away from you guys, and now they have money. So if you do not quickly find an antidote to structuring your team and building your team, by the time you realize other teams would have taken your place and would have filled in the gap, and it will take you more years to recover, like it's taking Manchester United years and years to find their groove and to find their rhythm. Nobody knows when United would win the league again because they allow things to get that bad.
And then somebody like Pius will tell us on YouTube that the honest club is not to blame for this decline.
The honest are not backing him.
No, I sharply
He gave you 180 million plus to buy a striker.
I disagree. Because Klopp has always been given money, he has spent it wrongly, and this is what ought to be said. I mean, look. Anybody will take the flag for somebody like Darwin Núñez. How? I've always said that was going to be an expensive experiment.
An expensive experiment leads me to add this particular stat. Liverpool have created the most big chances in the league, and all those big chances they have
fallen to most of them have fallen to Darwin Núñez,
and they have also missed the most big chances under Núñez
because of Darwin Núñez. I mean, how do you explain €100 million flop? Nobody can tell me that Darwin Núñez is the reason.
He's having a bad season. That's
How do you explain? Yesterday,
but he's not bought well in a way.
No, he's not bought well. I mean,
you have money to go and sign a player. Why would you sign Arthur? A guy who has not played football in 6 months.
Well, I think with Arthur, they virtually had their hands tied behind their backs because they delayed the lead.
You didn't get any other midfielder in the world?
Did they need Gakpo? You didn't need Nunes.
I think that with Gakpo, they looked at the injury situation to
No,
Ruben Diaz.
No, but
they looked at somebody who could quickly come in and fill that gap.
No, you don't.
And Gakpo fit the profile.
You don't fill a gap with a 50 million pound player. No.
So it's not so much of they not backing the guy because you need players.
I think the guy has not simply not spent well because it's easy. The fear is that now they have an overload in terms of the wingers or the forwards. You understand?
When
Diaz, there's Jota, there's Gakpo, there's Darwin Nunes. Firmino will leave, you understand? But how do you keep a squad happy when you have all of these world-class players sitting on the bench and not doing anything?
You see, the Liverpool conundrum for me is...
Charlie, I agree with you. Fire Klopp. I mean, listen. I think the Liverpool are flirting with mediocrity.
That is the right. I think you couldn't have put it better.
Because a manager walks in. Yes, I mean absolutely. And because a manager walks in 7 years. 7, 8. He will be 8 in October.
At the end of the season, he's 8 years.
October.
Handling one of the biggest clubs in the world. He's won 1 Champions League. He's won 1 league.
1 league trophy.
The
COVID trophy.
Your popular saying the COVID trophy.
Yeah.
He's won 1 FA Cup. He's won 1 Carabao Cup. He's spent as much as his compatriots, the big guys, have spent. So just as I have spent, you have spent. But if you compare him to his major competitor, in those 7 same years, Pep Guardiola has done 4 in 5 Premier League titles. Let's not even talk about the Carabao Cup, the FA Cup, and the proper rebuilding that City have done. And they even look more scarier in their 7th year because for a team that is 7 years, I should think that is when you probably have hit your crescendo and you are descending. But City don't look like a team that... City actually look like a team that's in about its 4th year, 5th year of actually properly rebuilding.
But before we talk about Lampard, let me ask you a simple question. And I ask everybody, do you think that Pep Guardiola has been more successful at City than Klopp has been at Liverpool?
Oh, wow, that could be a discussion we could throw up in there. But let me take some comments on the Liverpool issue and what's happening. We'll come back and continue with the discussion, guys. But it's been very interesting. So thank you very much, Christiansen Kojo, for the super stickers. Thank you very much, Prince. We are really appreciate your support so far. Abel says that good evening, Sports 101 analyst. Arsenal couldn't win this game. There is something at Anfield. Kojo Hayford says that Arsenal will bottle this league. City will have the mental edge, especially when they win their match against them. Live Before You Leave says that the referee kind of ruined the game with those lackluster decisions. It clearly gave Liverpool the momentum. We'll look at refereeing decisions in the EPL this week where, they've come out to render an apology, especially in that Brighton game. Look at all those, issues coming up as well at the tail end of the show. Let's take this from Prince. Again, Prince says that Arsenal will get a result at City, and that will be the deciding factor. Our very own Percy gives us thumbs up. Ebenezer Tete says, good evening, guys. Watching the show live inside New York City. You guys should be careful with the way you throw around somebody's city or New York City.
Oh, I mean, New York City.
The new Takra, our very own new Takra. There's
both are massive.
So your own Luton Dazi says that I think Arsenal are still favorites to win the league. They are still on top. Liverpool just made it difficult for Arsenal to win the league. City will win it. Ebenezer says, guys, Arsenal have kicked themselves in the foot. The trophy is coming home. A City United. As for United fans, you guys will not think about yourself. You want to, attach yourself to sweetness and glory. United fans. Klopp is not responsible for the decline. The owners haven't invested well in the team. They have promised to inject cash in the team next season. This is coming from our very own Piles. PHS lucky. It's not true that the draw was a result of the coach. I'm sorry. The tactical change made by Klopp is what drew the game. Let not twist fact. Arsenal was pained the whole of the second half. Luton says Liverpool has only brought in 1 midfielder since 2018. That's unthinkable.
No, that's
For a team that apparently is rebuilding, that's Thiago Alcantara when they bought him from Bayern Munich since 2018.
I mean,
They bought one midfielder. They've been relying on old horses like Fabinho and Jordan Henderson, who we know in terms of creativity and skill set, they lack a lot. So that even speaks a lot to how Jurgen Klopp has, in a way, tried to build this team going forward. But Luton, thank you very much for that information. Very, very true. Versus Liverpool does not sack their coaches for flimsy reasons. They stick to their coaches and allow them to build their team. This isn't different. Tuchel did not build any team in Dortmund. Everyone expected Arsenal to be hammered at Anfield. Really? I don't think so. If you look at the momentum Arsenal had and the fact that Arsenal were playing very, I even felt that Arsenal were going to, tear this Liverpool side. So, Marjorie, can we admit that expectations have been exceeded? It has been 11 years since they got anything out of this fixture. Kojo Efort says, not true. Klopp always gets money to buy when we sell. Not true that he gets a lot of cash injection from the owners. So lots of comments coming there. Luton again says that Nunes will come good. Did you watch Suarez in his first season? He was horrible. So we are running a little poll which says that will Arsenal bottle this league? Guys, what do you think? Do you think that Arsenal will bottle it at the end of it, or that's an interest, Kofi. That's an interesting. The poll is, do you think Arsenal will bottle it?
I think they've bottled it. I mean, everybody who has watched this show, I'll tell you.
It's different with your opinion about Arsenal not winning the league, because we know where you stand. You don't like Arsenal. You are not.
Let me make a confession on live TV. If I didn't support Manchester United,
don't say it.
No, hold on.
Don't say that you would have supported us.
Hold your horses. If I didn't support Manchester United, I'll support Arsenal. Because they are the closest thing that comes to sanity.
So where from this disdain?
No, it's not disdain. I mean, this is not anything to do with a sort of disdain towards Arsenal or whatever it is. You understand? I think that it is very obvious that they've built a project. They have a good team. They have everything going in their favor. But Arsenal clearly has deficiencies. And one of the deficiencies has to be the fact that there is not much depth. I agree that, getting Trossard in mid-season was one of the
very good scoop.
What's the name of the guy who plays for Mudryk?
Chelsea.
I think that we need to find his GPS address.
We'll go back to Chelsea and we'll exclusively talk about Chelsea.
But Liverpool.
Kofi,
Van Dijk.
What?
Van Dijk. Liverpool.
You are literally preempting my thought. But I feel that, listen, Van Dijk, after one good season or 1.5 good season, people were calling this player world class. Like I said, for me,
you don't think he's world
for
class?
Me,
you don't think he's
for you
world
to
class?
Belong to the world class conversation, you need to have been at least 3-4 years consistent playing at the highest level. You do not give me 1.5 good season and expect that I'll put you in that world class conversation. If you look at players that we consider world class, they have given us high octane level football, whether you're a defender, you're a goalkeeper, you're a striker, you're a midfielder, they have maintained that highest level of football at a consistent level for at least 3 years. Mm-hmm. We still talk about Ronaldo. We still talk about Messi. Since when did we start talking about Kylian Mbappe? Since he was 19 years. Mm-hmm. This boy has been balling since then. You need to be consistent. So for me, Van Dijk does not belong in the conversation of world class because he's been good for at least 18 months. Bar that he's been ordinary.
75
I do not think that Van Dijk is any better than a 36-year-old Koulibaly.
Oh, no, that's an insult.
No, I do not think that the current Van Dijk is any better than a 36-year Koulibaly at Chelsea. What makes Van Dijk better than the current Virgil van Dijk that I've been seeing? The Van Dijk I saw last season, The
No.
Van Dijk I'm seeing this
No.
season, Kofi, come on.
No. Come on.
Guys.
No, I am not allowing you to get off this horse.
Koulibaly may be old.
No.
But Koulibaly's ability to read
But
the
Koulibaly
game.
is 36. Koulibaly is 33. I'm sure Koulibaly is not 36. But I don't know why you want to ascribe 36 to Koulibaly. But hell no, you don't compare
Listen,
Van Dijk to
I look
Koulibaly.
at the current state of Van Dijk, whether
No.
from last season through to this season. His defending and his ability to command his defensive unit.
Well,
he's not any better than the current Koulibaly.
Well, I think that's an insult to Van Dijk and
Why
Koulibaly.
is that an insult?
That's an insult to Koulibaly and Van Dijk himself, because Van Dijk has never been a defender.
What do you
Let
mean
me
when
tell
you say Van Dijk has
Van
never
Dijk
been a
has
defender?
never
Is he an attack?
no, hold on. You know,
Is he a winger?
you know, Liverpool fans have a funny way of playing with words. They'll tell you that there's a guy who organizes the defense. He's the guy who is able to marshal. So
If this defense is an organized defense, then I want to see a disorganized defense, because this Liverpool defense looks very disorganized.
When they were in their pump, if you listen to our comments earlier, when they were in their pump, because of the Gen press and all of the work that they had to do in the
effective
midfield work that they had to do over there, then they would not allow opponents to have
They
a
didn't
goal
expose them that much.
at their defense. They'll tell you, oh, Van Dijk is a good organizer of the defense. He's the guy who he's the journalismo of the defense, so he's the Napoleon. He organizes everybody together. But at a point, they were throwing around weird statistics that nobody had been able to dribble Van Dijk. One. You know why?
Have you seen Van Dijk in the last 2-3 seasons?
No, I am saying that nobody was able to dribble Van Dijk because he was always running away. He was always running away. This was a guy who never came close to the hot spot.
You know, the Dutch legends...
So if there's any war in Lubumbashi, Van Dijk will be chilling in Cairo. You understand? I mean, he would not want to go to Lubumbashi.
Liverpool fans, we are not coming, we are not picking or tearing apart Virgil van Dijk, but I feel that there are certain elements in that Liverpool team I believe the Liverpool fans deserve better from them, because for a player of Virgil van Dijk's make, somebody who a lot of people think that you represent leadership in the team, we expect a lot from you, and that's not what we are getting, because
he's supposed to be
this
deputy
thing that
captain.
this thing that I'm seeing is not the mark of a world-class defender and solid organization at the back. But if Jurgen Klopp would stay, what do you think would buy him his ticket to still stay at Liverpool next season?
He probably needs to come and see Nana Bobo. Forgive me, but that's just a comment, by the way. He needs to come to the Ghana because border, see Nana Bobo, because
what will buy Jurgen Klopp stay at Liverpool? Do you think his mileage with what he has done is still keeping him in there?
I honestly do not think that Jurgen Klopp has done anything special. See, let me tell you something. If you look at what Tuchel did with Chelsea, the only thing Jurgen Klopp probably did better, bar Chelsea, bar Tuchel, was to win the league.
Yeah.
You understand?
Yeah.
And if you were doing an arithmetic progression, or if you wanted to do a whatever progression, you understand? You would probably want to extrapolate that if Tuchel had kept his job at length, he probably would have done everything Jurgen Klopp had done in 8 years and less.
And probably even more.
You understand?
Yeah.
I think that the only thing holding Liverpool back is that Namda. Forgive me, but this cannot happen at Chelsea. This cannot happen at Manchester United. This cannot happen at Real Madrid. Barcelona will not tolerate this.
You can win the Champions League with Real Madrid and
you understand?
Still fire.
I think that Liverpool are stepping into the depths of mediocrity. Because if you're going to hold on to Jurgen Klopp, a man who has no history of any rebuild, and I challenge everybody listening to or watching us, that if you have any evidence of a rebuild work undertaken by Jurgen Klopp, please put us to shame.
That's another important fact you've thrown out there. All throughout Jurgen Klopp's career, he has never rebuilt any team.
Nothing.
After he's done with his project, the project goes down and he leaves.
No, so now he's
because
watching,
at Mainz he didn't rebuild.
No,
Mainz.
he didn't rebuild
After
anything.
7 years and everything was down, he left. After Jurgen Klopp at Dortmund, after 7 years, he goes down. So if you have not done it before,
what's the guarantee that you can do it again?
Can you do it and even do it
well? And you see the caveat.
That's the reason why he's struggling to rebuild Liverpool currently.
The caveat here is that, listen, if Liverpool are in the position they find themselves in now, in all likelihood, no, they don't play the Champions League. So forget about Jude Bellingham.
You should forget about that guy.
All the A-listers are not going to come to Liverpool. So you still have to contend with the Incoso players. You understand? You still have to deal with the Plan Bs. Now,
that's another important.
What will
that's
happen?
A key element.
What will happen also is that the A-listers then.
Mo Salah be willing
Mo Salah
to play?
is enjoying his retirement. You cannot fault him.
I
think that he's enjoying what the job he's done in the past. I mean, nobody can take away Mo Salah's legacy from Liverpool. Now he's taking the 350. He's enjoying this. Mo Salah has become like Aubameyang when he took that new contract at Arsenal before he was fired by Arteta. He's enjoying his retirement. He will not be the same player he used to be again. No, he's not the same player he used to be. Now, what will happen ideally is that teams like Newcastle,
who have
teams
the cash
like
to
Arsenal,
who have the cash to burn,
teams like Manchester United,
teams
like Chelsea, teams like City, they will always slip ahead of you. Because, I mean, this is Liverpool supporters telling us that the owners are not backing Jurgen Klopp. But you have competitors whose owners are going to back them to the core.
A bottomless pit of cash.
Exactly the point. So if you're Klopp and you cannot turn around this now, the guys, don't you get scared at night when you think about the fact that there could probably be a marriage between Ten Hag and the Qataris?
That would be very interesting. Let me run by our listeners the league table currently and how the league is looking going into the next round of games. So as we speak, Arsenal sit atop of the league table with 73 points, having played a game more than Manchester City with 67 points. City have plus 48, Arsenal have plus 43. City have a game in hand. And let me run by you the remaining fixtures for the two teams, because as we speak, they are the front runners in terms of competing for the league title. So Arsenal's next game is away to West Ham. Then they play at home to Southampton. Then they go away to City. Then they come back at home and play Chelsea. Then they go away to Newcastle, take on Brighton at home, then go away and play Forest, then play Wolves at home. City, on the other hand, take on Leicester City at home. They go away to Brighton, then come back, play Arsenal at home. Then they play Fulham, West Ham, Leeds, Everton, Chelsea, and Brentford. I look at that game, and apart from the Brighton-Arsenal game, City's games all look like winnable games. And they've started their thing again. Mm-hmm. They are on a 4-game winning run in the Premier League, mm-hmm. 8 games across all competition. And in those 4 games, they are scoring for fun. They are playing, beautiful football. Let's see what happens. And it's going to be interesting. The poll is still out there. We'll conclude with the poll and see what our guys are saying. But it's getting interesting on the show. If you are listening to us and if you are watching us, listening during the we're live on Takrady FM 99.1, yes. Tardy FM 99.1 FM. Thank you very much for choosing Sports 101 and Tardy FM as well. But if you are watching us live, this is Sports 101. Every Sunday evening, we come your way from 7 to 9 with exclusive sports roundup where we delve deep into the issues. I'm sure you're enjoying the conversation, and we are also enjoying ourselves. Let me take the poll. So will Arsenal bottle the league? 55% actually said yes, 44% said no. So a lot of people actually still believe that Arsenal will bottle the league. I'm still, standing my ground, guys. I'm still standing my grounds. For the Arsenal fans, I'm with you guys. You are not bottling the league. You may even lose to City, but you're still not bottling the league. But Kofi,
how is it possible?
something interesting happened in the course of the week. One, after the handlers of Chelsea committing for me a coaching blunder, a catastrophic decision by letting go of Tuchel and appointing, Graham Potter. They allowed Graham Potter to run his course for, months, leading the team to some of its worst performances. Yesterday's defeat to Wolves meant that Chelsea had only won 4 games out of 24 games that they have played. Just 4. Outrageous, incredible record, which is not on the good side. Now, they sacked the man, and in getting a coach, they appoint Frank Lampard. This is where I'm a bit confused, because if you believe that, okay, we do not want to bring in a top-class manager because the season is almost over, let's talk to them behind the scenes, get them to come when the season is over. Why don't you let Graham Potter continue doing his job? Because I look at the one you decide to bring him in as a stopgap manager is not any different from the one you let go, and he may even be worse off than because you actually let go of that guy to bring in somebody you think can do the job, and you fire that person, bring in somebody who is worse off than him. Lots of managerial, I'm sorry to use the word, it doesn't make sense. It's nonsensical, because yes, I'm sure the reason behind Chelsea not quickly appointing a top-class manager is because Luis Enrique sits back and the season is almost over. Maybe I don't want to come and handle Chelsea at this particular moment. Julian Nagelsmann sits back and says, I don't want to handle Chelsea at this particular moment. So they have no other option than to bring in somebody as a stopgap manager. But in bringing somebody as a stopgap manager, do you bring in Frank Lampard? And to add to it before you come in, I look at the profile of managers that Chelsea are scouting around for. I read this morning from a report which actually is very authenticated that they are actually speaking to Antonio Conte.
Oh God.
So one, you've spoken to Julian Nagelsmann.
Oh God.
You've spoken to Luis Enrique. You've spoken to Mauricio Pochettino. You are speaking to Antonio Conte.
They are flirting with Jose Mourinho.
They are flirting with Jose Mourinho. That's also true. Different profile of managers. Kofi, add this to your submission. One, does that speak to the fact that Chelsea do not know the direction in which they want to go to? They want to go because the profile of manager should speak to the direction you want to take the club. Listen, Manchester United knew exactly what they want to do, so we want Erik ten Hag. They go speak to him. They sell a project. He sells a project to them. They don't even speak to a lot of managers. They pick him because they know what they want. City likewise. They didn't speak to a lot of managers after this is Pep. This is what we want to go. You're speaking to Conte. Conte's profile as a manager. Mourinho's profile as a manager. Yes, you may want to say Julian Nagelsmann and Luis Enrique are probably similar in terms of their approach to the game, but these other managers, they make the thing a bit. What's happening at Chelsea with their coaching situation?
Well, the truth of the matter is that the American owners, they don't know jack about football. And it's clear from all of the premise that you have laid that there's no sense of direction at Chelsea.
I just actually received this information, and guys, this is breaking news. So managers that have actually been shortlisted today, breaking news, include Luis Enrique, Mauricio Pochettino, Luciano Spalletti. The job, they like what he's doing. Julian Nagelsmann and Amorim. So
yeah, Amorim.
Yes. So these are 5. These are the managers they have settled on, and out of these 5, these are the managers that Chelsea are seeking to potentially have a manager from this pool. So Amorim, Enrique, Pochettino, Julian Nagelsmann, and Spalletti. Maybe we can throw it out there for our guys. Who do you think will be the ideal man to rebuild the next phase of Chelsea? So Julian Nagelsmann, Pochettino, Amorim, Spalletti, and Luis Enrique. Guys, I want to know your take in the comment section. If you continue.
Well, there's a lot of confusion at Chelsea.
Why do you say so?
Let me quickly attempt to deal with the Lampard situation. They will
Yeah.
probably
Yeah.
deal with all of these other things that have happened here. I think that Lampard was not really appointed for football decisions.
Really?
I
So
think so.
why is he there?
Well, I think that Lampard was appointed because they wanted to galvanize the whole fan base. Because listen, supporters are always going to be at the center of everything you do. Yesterday we spoke about projects. You
Yeah.
understand?
Yeah.
So supporters are always going to be at the center of every project, of every soccer project that you want to undertake. And if you look at the Chelsea fan base at this material time, before the appointment of Frank Lampard, what was happening was that there was a lot of disenchantment, there was a lot of disillusion, there was a lot of out of favor, a lack of affinity for the club. You understand?
Upset.
Because they were upset at some of the decisions. They were upset at some of the decisions that had been taken from the beginning of the season up until now. You understand? People felt among the ranks that Graham Potter should never have been appointed.
But do you know that at some point they hailed the appointment of Graham Potter?
I mean, obviously, the guy who calls the shots has to be the guy who takes the final decisions eventually. So if he's taking a decision and it's backfired, he will stick with it because his integrity is at stake. And that's exactly what happened with Chelsea. I think that going with Lampard was more about galvanizing the fan base. It was more about because listen, if you are looking at Lampard, if you are looking at Graham Potter is a better coach than Lampard can ever be. Graham Potter is a better coach than Lampard can ever be. You understand? Yes, I understand all of the euphoria surrounding his coming to Chelsea. Lampard is a lower grade of Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, a lower version of Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. And so, I mean, the moment Chelsea had to appoint a Frank Lampard, I was like, oh, okay, maybe this is not for footballing reason. What Chelsea did with the Frank Lampard appointment was to accept the fact that they had put the season on a reset.
But then you actually, because listen, if I look at Lampard as a manager, do you know, let me run by you the league table, then I can tell you that Chelsea actually risk battling with relegation if they continue to lose games, because Chelsea are not far off from the relegation zone. Now, this is the league table. Chelsea lie 11th with -2 goals with just 39 points. Now, the team that lies on the 18th, which is Nottingham Forest, are 27 points, meaning the difference between them and Chelsea is just 12 points. Just 12 points. And you have 9 games to go. If Chelsea continues on this trajectory, they risk being relegated. Because Chelsea are yet to, win a game in a long while. Chelsea have been losing more games than they actually winning. Now, the tendency that you would have to battle relegation, and if you look at the teams Chelsea would have to do business with us in terms of Crystal Palace, they today surprised everybody by beating Leeds 5-1. There's Wolves, there's West Ham. You need to battle all these guys. So why would you bring in Lampard and risk battling with relegation?
Well, the truth of the matter is that I don't think the Chelsea will be
What's
relegated.
happening?
No, but I agree to all of the assertions you have made, but I don't think that Chelsea will be relegated. I think that they have too much class in terms of the player quality, in terms of the recruitments that they have done. They have too much class to go down the drain.
Is it not so much of the teams below them are more well? The team below them are not performing,
exactly,
so Chelsea will not go down.
I think that if it comes to crunch, Chelsea have the class of players to make sure. And you see, we talk about players and their ability to rise to the biggest of occasions. I think that what this Chelsea unit needs is a proper coach. You understand? Because they have world-class players in their ranks.
World-class players?
Yes, they have world-class players.
How many world-class players are in that Chelsea team?
I do not think that you would not call somebody like N'Golo Kante a no world-class player.
N'Golo Kante is world-class.
Well, I agree that Thiago Silva is world-class.
Thiago Silva is
You
world
understand?
class.
I think that somebody like
Chelsea have just 2 world-class players.
oh no, I disagree.
Chelsea have just 2 world-class
I
players.
disagree. Well,
Kepa Arrizabalaga is not a world-class
well,
player.
I think that Kai Havertz is a
Could-
world-class
oh, please.
player.
Oh,
I mean,
please.
I mean,
Kai
I
Havertz.
think Kai Havertz.
Kai
yeah, I
Havertz
think
is
it's
world class.
I think it's world class.
Kofi, if Kai Havertz is world class, then Odegaard is world class.
Why?
Kai Havertz.
What has Odegaard done with his
Kai
life?
Havertz, you see, I have a problem. If you watch this Chelsea team,
No.
Kai Havertz is one of their major problems. He only pops up in some few moments, scores some few important goals. We think Kai Havertz cannot start in any of the big teams in Europe.
Well, I disagree.
Kai Havertz will not start at City. Kai Havertz will not start at Madrid. Kai Havertz cannot walk into even this current Arsenal team and command a starting bed. Who would he start ahead of?
Well, I think that's what Kai Havertz has done.
I throw a challenge to the Chelsea fans. Who would Kai Havertz start ahead of in this current Arsenal setup?
It's not about who he
Kai
starts
Havertz
ahead
will not
of.
start ahead of what's it called? Gabriel Jesus, Martinelli, Saka. None of the front three.
Let me tell you something.
Kai Havertz.
Let me tell you something.
Oh, please, he's not world class. Chelsea have
Kai
just 2
Havertz-
world class players.
Hold on. Kai Havertz, when he used to play,
When he used to play.
it's because Chelsea have a dysfunctional system, so he's forced to play as a number 9. So you cannot judge him as a number 9 because Kai Havertz will Leverkusen.
He's a 10.
Yes, he's a 10.
Yes,
he's a 10.
And at Leverkusen, come on, please.
At Leverkusen, when he rose to
if you think you are world class at Leverkusen, then you are a joke.
Hold on. You dare not mention all of the names you've mentioned. Odegaard, all of those people.
My point is, this
I am saying
current Arsenal team.
Hold on.
Kai Havertz will not start
What has
ahead
this
of
current Arsenal?
any of the front three or even the midfielders. Kai Havertz will not get a starting bet in this Arsenal team.
That's fine. What has this Arsenal team done?
It's not about what they've won or what they've done. I'm looking at the profile of players they have.
You talk about profile.
Yes.
You talk about profile. You do not want to talk about temperament.
Oh, please.
We are here talking about the fact that they could battle the league because they collapsed mentally at Anfield today.
The current Chelsea team is made up
Kai
of
Havertz is somebody you can trust on the biggest of stages.
Apart from his scoring in that Champions League final, what else has he
World
done?
Club Cup.
Oh,
the
please.
guy steps up on the biggest of stages.
What
and then
did he do?
World Club Cup.
Oh, God, please.
Come on.
Please, Kofi. Truth be told, listen, I think that Chelsea's problem is not so much of, yes, they do have coaching issue, but they have a bunch of average players. Yes, people may want to mention Reece James, but listen, I want to see some level of consistency for 2, 3, 4, 5 seasons. Reece James playing at the highest level. You don't give me 1 or 2 seasons, then I'll throw you in the conversation of world class. Apart from Thiago Silva and N'Golo Kante, who for years now have been operating at a certain level. We saw N'Golo Kante's impact for that short moment when he came on, when he started in that game against Liverpool. So, Kofi, add to this. The coaches that we've listed so far, who do you think will be the ideal fit for whatever project Chelsea have in mind? I think that Spalletti is an interesting choice to be in that list. So there's Spalletti, there's Amorim, there's Julian Nagelsmann, there's Luis Enrique, and there's Mauricio Pochettino. This man has been unemployed for long.
Well, if you pushed me to the wall, I think that if you look at the profile of players that Chelsea do have at this material time, and if you look at the history of Chelsea as a club, I would go for a straight fight between Pochettino and Luis Enrique.
Pochettino?
Yes, Pochettino.
Why Mauricio Pochettino?
I'll tell you why. And then I'll make a choice. You understand?
Okay.
But I think that, if you look at I talk about the profile of players at Chelsea, and then I talk about Chelsea as a club, what it has come to stand for in recent history.
Yeah.
Yes, people would say that Pochettino has never been one who has collected a lot of trophies. Yes.
Yeah.
He won basically nothing with Tottenham, and then went to PSG, won a couple of trophies, and blah, blah, blah. But the point is simple. If you look at the cluster of players at Chelsea now, if you look at their complexion, if you look at the age bracket, you need somebody who has done it, has seen it, done it. You can have pointers. Because if we are here making fun of Modric, you understand? You need a manager who would make sure that 100 million price tag on him is worthwhile. You understand? So I struggle to find many coaches in the world today who are capable of developing and taking to the next level some of these young players, I struggle to look beyond Mauricio Pochettino. He has a track record. He has a history. He's proven it time without number that he's a manager who can create out of nothing. And I think there'll be exciting players at Chelsea. Then I would look at Luis Enrique also. I would look at his last project with the Spanish national team. If you look at how he was able to develop Pedri and Gavi, you understand, and bring them to prominence.
Add Dani Olmo.
Yes, Dani Olmo with Leipzig, you
Yeah.
understand, and bring them to prominence, even when they were not really superstars with Barcelona. Had a lot of trust in them, was able to bring them on the world stage and do all the things that he did with them. I think that Luis Enrique is also somebody you can trust to win with kids. You
Let me
understand?
add this so that it will make your argument richer. A lot of people do not know that Luis Enrique is one of the very few managers in the world who's won the proper treble.
Yeah.
In 2015,
He actually
he
won-
won
I
the
think
Champions League
yes,
with Barcelona,
yes.
won the Copa del Rey
Yeah.
with them, won the league
Yeah.
with them,
Yeah.
went on to win 2 major trophies
Yeah.
in that season.
Yeah.
The only trophy that he missed out was that more or less like the King's Cup that starts at the beginning of the season. He would have equaled Pep Guardiola's record,
Sextuple.
having won
he
the
won the
sextuple. So
quintuple.
he won 5 major
Yeah.
trophies. That's
Yeah.
one that a lot of people are forgetting.
Yeah.
He's done his bit also in the league.
So I think that if you're looking for the right combination, Luis Enrique is somebody who is a proven winner. You cannot take away that from him. Since he started his coaching, I think it was Osasuna, and then he had to move to Roma at a certain point in time. By his transitioning from Roma, even with Roma,
Yeah.
you could see his fingerprints all over the team. He's transitioning from Roma back to Barcelona, and then what he was able to do with that Barcelona
The
team.
Chelsea board will probably need you in there because you are making a strong case for Luis
Well, I
Enrique.
think no. The truth of the matter is that for the EPL to be strong, you need a strong Chelsea. You understand? You need a strong Chelsea based on the trend analysis in contemporary times. You need a strong Chelsea, and when Chelsea is strong, the league is strongest. And I hate to say this, but Chelsea have been one of the biggest ambassadors when it comes to
They
the EPL
represented
in Europe. You understand? So you need a strong Chelsea, and if you're going to have to compete against some of the very best coaches in the world, there is Eric Ten Hag, there is potentially Arteta, there is Jurgen Klopp, there is Pep Guardiola.
Wow.
They are all of these managers.
that would be
so,
rich.
so you throw in the Luis Enrique because listen. Chelsea are at that point of their project where they need a manager who walks into that dressing room and is the biggest element in that dressing room.
That I agree with you.
Because, all of these Chelsea players, spoiled brats.
The young boys need somebody they can look up to in the
Exactly.
dressing room.
They need
'Cause
somebody who
most
can
of them
tell
they
them
have
that,
not won anything.
please, sit down.
Yeah.
You understand? Then you probably Google Luis Enrique and realize that he's been there as a player, he's been there as a manager.
Yeah.
So Chelsea needs, and for me, I think that everything points to the fact that they might have to, because Nagelsmann, he will end up being another Graham Potter, a German Graham Potter. Because
You don't trust Julian
I do
Nagelsmann
not
like that
trust Julio Nagelsmann.
to lead the new face of the Chelsea.
First of all, I
project.
think that
But he's one of those people that he's a lot of people's favorite in terms of having to work with young players and trying to build because of his
I agree.
unconventional ideas.
Well, I agree because you look at Nagelsmann and his work with Leipzig and Hoffenheim and eventually his work with Bayern Munich. He's done a great job. But you see, first of all, I don't think that bar a few names, German coaches are not the best travelers.
That's true.
You understand? You would struggle to adapt to the culture. To be a good manager in the EPL, you'd have to, first of all, adapt to the culture first. You understand? And we forget also that Nagelsmann is a very young man. That's 6 years. He's a guy who likes to dabble in the frenzies. He's a guy who likes to
He'll
live
be on a
life
scooter and come for training and all of that.
He's a guy who likes to live on the extreme, lives on the border, on the boundary. So I think that at this point in time, looking at the project that Chelsea wants to run and looking at how fast they want the project to hit the ground running, I do not look beyond any manager bar Luis Enrique.
So you made a case for Mauricio Pochettino, made a case for Luis Enrique, then settled on Luis Enrique. Guys, what do you think? I gave you the exclusive. So there is Amorim, there's Julian Nagelsmann, there's Luis Enrique, there's Luciano Spalletti, and there is what's the name of the last one? Mauricio Pochettino.
Pochettino.
These are the 5 names that have been officially listed by Chelsea as the next pool of managers, or the next manager is coming out of this pool. Who would you think will be the ideal choice of manager for Chelsea, and why? You're listening to us live on Tardy FM 99.1, and as well, you're watching us live on YouTube. If you have not subscribed yet, make sure you subscribe to our channel, Sports 101. We give you the best of sports. We are here every Sunday from 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. where we give you a proper roundup of the weekend activities, or the major sporting activities throughout the week. I'll take your comments, and maybe Kofi will do that, but we'll be talking about a lot of things, and we'll switch the conversation and talk about, as we're talking about Chelsea. Kofi, Chelsea take on Real Madrid, in the Champions League on Wednesday. Some actually believe that one of the reasons why they appointed Frank Lampard was because of that. Do you know that Frank Lampard was one of those managers Real Madrid could never beat? You know that, right? Yeah. So maybe the reason why they brought in Lampard was for the Champions League. But Chelsea take on Real Madrid in the Champions League on Wednesday. A very crucial game that could define Chelsea's, season. If they're able to scale the hurdle and go past Real Madrid, that's huge. On paper, everybody knows that Real Madrid, when it comes to the Champions League, seem to have a grip on the Champions League. And even this season, they've proven that when it comes to the Champions League, they will not let you go when you are there for the taking. Let's look at that game. Chelsea, Real Madrid. How do you see that game going? Why are you laughing? You make it look like, there's, Percy always says something that they will give you reasons not to hope.
Actually, the point.
Let's look at that game. Barring all the shenanigans, Chelsea take on. Is there not even a single moment you feel that Chelsea can pull a surprise in this game after 2 legs?
There are no shenanigans.
There's no way.
I would advise Chelsea not to turn up. If they do turn up, they should carry a big basket.
There's no way.
Because listen, I agree that football is illogical. I agree that football, a lot of times, does not follow any set mantra. You understand? But the point also is simple. I would want to look at this Chelsea team now. There is no one single department in this Chelsea team that is functioning right at this material time. Goalkeeping, defense, midfield, attack. I struggle to find one spine of the team that is functioning effectively at this point in time. I struggle to find one. You understand? And you see, I think that, yes, there's exuberance. There's wanting to perform on the biggest of stages. Yes, Chelsea have done it. They've ridden their luck against some of the biggest teams in Europe and have won the Champions League. But to put the conversation into context, all of the times Chelsea have won the Champions League, they've had big personalities in that dressing room. They have big personalities.
When they won it against City, who were those big personalities in that dressing room?
I mentioned Kai Havertz. You disagree?
There was
Kante. You understand? And I think that against City, the biggest personality was Tuchel. You understand?
Okay, that I agree.
Yes, and there was also Thiago Silva in there. Yeah. There were a couple of other players in there who were big personalities. So you look at this Chelsea team. Every time they've won the Champions League, they've done it with big personalities in this dressing room. I struggle to find one. And forgive me, but this has to be big personalities coming up against established generalismos in the Champions League. You come up against Federico Valverde, you come up against Vinicius Jr., you come up against Karim Benzema, you come up against Luka Modric, you come up against Toni Kroos, you come up against somebody like Alaba, you come up against Courtois.
Antonio Rudiger.
Come on. I mean, listen. On a scale of 1 to 10, I'll give Chelsea 0.2. They will not qualify beyond this thing. I don't want us to want. No, I don't want us to waste time on this particular subject matter.
No way you think Chelsea can go past Real Madrid.
There's no way Chelsea.
This is football.
No. This is football.
We've seen some of the weirdest of things happen in games, and you wonder, okay.
Then probably Real Madrid will end up injuring all of their players. You understand? There is no way on a scale of 1 to 10 that Chelsea makes the 1 on my scale. They did not make a 1. The most I'm giving them is 0.2.
Over 2 legs.
They are going to drink an avalanche of goals.
Against
Real Madrid. Karim Benzema will tear that defense apart.
He's back on form again.
He is going to tear that defense apart. Yes, maybe this is when we test the capabilities of Reece James. Let him run up against Vinicius Jr. You understand?
But he's played Vinicius Jr. on countless
let him play him now.
And he's actually proven that he can easily
Let him play him now. I am saying that on a scale of 1 to 10, there is no way. I've played this game 1,001 times in my brain.
Let's look at
played it
1,001. You believe that Chelsea, there's no way either on paper, outside paper, on the field that Chelsea are going past Real Madrid. But how are you expecting Chelsea to approach this game? Let's look at the approach. With which, should they go in very defensive-minded, try to at least minimize the damage limitation? Should they go into this game, try to get a draw? How do you expect Chelsea to approach the game against Real Madrid come Wednesday?
Well, I expect Chelsea to go into this game knowing this is their best shot at anything glory this season. You understand?
All guns blazing.
All guns blazing. And this is where I think that they fall into the trap of Real Madrid.
But here you are saying they cannot match Real Madrid. If you go all guns blazing,
this is what I expect them to do, because I do not expect them to pull the handbrake playing against Real Madrid. This is their best shots are coming back into the Champions League first of all. For them to play the Champions League, they need to win the Champions League. You understand? The good thing about Chelsea is that they virtually gotten all the players they wanted to get, because they are going to be in the same conundrum as Liverpool. You understand? And the bad thing about Chelsea is that they do not have a history. They do not have a heritage. You understand? So I think that they need to go into this game all guns blazing, knowing that this is their best shot at anything glory this season. And this is where I think that they could fall into the traps of Real Madrid. You go out all gung-ho. Ideally, I think that they need to be cautious and pick their moments when they are playing against Real Madrid, moments where they attack Real Madrid. But knowing Chelsea and how overzealous they can be, they might want to go into this game all guns blazing. And this is Frank Lampard, you understand? This is Frank Lampard, who would probably want to prove a point after that defeat at Wolverhampton Wanderers, you understand? He would want to prove a point, and nowhere on the biggest stage would you want to prove a point than to play against Real Madrid. Go there and do the unthinkable. Everybody will think that, because I've read in certain quarters that if in the unlikeliest of scenarios, Frank Lampard is able to win the Champions League with Chelsea,
they will keep him.
They will have a big shout. He will have a big shout in who becomes the next manager of Chelsea.
He would have a big say.
He would have a big say because his name will loom large in the boardroom of Chelsea.
Wow, that would be very, very interesting. Guys, again, the question out there is, who do you think should be the ideal manager for Chelsea next season? Let me quickly run by you guys some of the messages that have come through so far. Lots of messages there. Thaddeus Usher says that you guys are being unfair to Liverpool. Klopp, Van Dijk, etc. I hope you can openly talk about your mediocre players at United this Liverpool team trash 7-0. Lucky, you do a very good job hosting the show. Keep it up. Thank you very much as well. Thank you too for being a patronizer of the show. So Theodore says that you call Fergie a success. Over 20 years with 2 UCL titles. He laughs out loud. Klopp is better than Fergie. You hail Fergie and downplay Jurgen Klopp. Hypocrisy hypocrisy, at its peak. Good job, guys. Enrique is the best bet, but their problem now is the long contract they give the average players. I think that's a very smart move there. People may not understand why Chelsea are
Yeah,
giving
they're
these
trying to
players
go. They are trying to go around the FFP.
FFP. Yes,
Yes.
it's a smart move there. You give if the player is willing to sign 8 years. Why do you hold back? Sign him 8 years. He is rather endangering his future. Yes, there is the tendency that after 2-3 years the player goes bad. You still have a contract that ties him or binds him to you. If you have to let him go, all these contractual issues. But hey, that's what Chelsea are doing. Kelvin De Gea says that Jesus Christ rose up today, and Mr. Siedu chose violence. Ask again, oh, he decided to go the violence way when Christ rose up in a very peaceful manner. He says, well, in other news, Dallas Mavericks have lost their appetite for playing basketball. You know, the NBA, the
Yeah,
commission has opened.
the final round.
They've actually opened an investigation into the actions of the Dallas Mavericks for they sitting out their big players,
No, you cannot
thinking
fault
that
him.
they intentionally,
No, you cannot fault him.
did
No.
that just so they could.
There's
So
something.
there's a
There's something called tanking in
tanking
basketball.
in
Yes, I mean,
basketball, those
listen,
things.
listen. I just walked in. The Golden State Warriors are playing up against the Portland Trail Blazers, and you know for a long time Damian Lillard has been his season has been shut down. And so Golden State Warriors have hit 55 points in the first quarter.
That's interesting. So we'll come back and give you a solid update on what's happening in the world of basketball. But what we'll do is that we'll go round trip the world, give you more or less like 2, 3, 5 minutes quick recap of the major sporting events that are happening around the world in a quick recap, where we'll probably have to run into the world of golf and give you a quick update what's happening in golf. And for me, I love my UFC. I'll give you an update on the fight that ended.
That was crazy yesterday.
Israel Adesanya and Poatan Pereira at UFC 287. You want to find out what's happening next as well. So this is what we do best on Sports 101. Let me quickly rush through your messages. Congrats to Vincent Company and Burnley. That's coming from Zongo Media. Yeah, they've also gained promotion. Please, the name is Mubarak Karim Ramadan Benzema.
Oh, I love
Take
this
note.
name.
That's
I
the
love
full
this
name.
name.
Lampard was a
name.
wrong choice. He is not a good coach and should never come near any serious team. Any coach who comes into Chelsea would want their set of players, else they would blame the failures on the players. They didn't buy themselves. That's very true, because Chelsea Chelsea right now, they conduct 2 sets of training because of the avalanche of players. Oh, that's true. Avalanche, or sometimes some of the players would have to sit out of training because they have over 30 players on their books.
Well,
how do you conduct proper training?
One of the
for
reasons
that?
why I think that they were never fair to Graham Potter. You do not throw this chaos.
So, Pash raised an interesting point. You're out there, you're bringing in A-list manager like Luis Enrique. None of these players were bought by him. So in the first 2 years, you're not really going to, because Luis Enrique also cannot add to the numbers already in there.
The problem with Chelsea is Bowley and Egbert.
Let's see what happens or who they choose to appoint as a manager. Interesting times happening at Chelsea, and let's see what quickly happens in there. Kofi, in a proper jurisdiction, we'll say for me, this game will be very interesting. Come Tuesday, City take on Bayern Munich in that crucial Champions League game. People have actually alluded to the appointment of Graham Potter as the reason behind, Tuchel. Because of the Champions League, they had to bring him in there because they didn't see a way that Julian Nagelsmann would go past, Pep Guardiola. But they feel that Thomas Tuchel in big games and crucial games have Pep Guardiola's calling card. He has a trump card. He could easily call him. That game for me on Tuesday is big at the Etihad. Let's preview that game quickly.
Point of correction.
Yeah.
Bayern did not need a Tuchel to beat Pep Guardiola. Indeed, it's people like yourself who glorify Pep Guardiola have always said that Pep Guardiola at City, he's not different from ManCity, he's not different from Pellegrini, He's not different from all of the managers that have preceded him. He's not done anything worthwhile. So Bayern, he's not done anything worthwhile. What has he done that the other managers didn't do?
Interesting.
No, these are statements of facts. You can decide to get emotional and sentimental, or you can decide to get sensational, but he's not done anything different from any of his predecessors. The only thing he's done different is that he spent a lot more money, and then he's probably chased some records on paper. 2, I still believe that even if Nagelsmann was manager of Bayern Munich, they will still have beaten Pep Guardiola and City. I think that we spoke about the fact that you need to win the Champions League yesterday. Was it difficult to win the Champions League?
We'll actually revisit the conversation before
I've always said that when it comes to the Champions League, it's about building another dual team to parallel that of the other team you are using in the league. And Pep Guardiola has proven it, that without the help of Lionel Messi, without the help of Iniesta, without the help of Xavi, he can never win the Champions League. He took over the best team in the world then with Bayern Munich. He took over the he took over the team that that German coach built. Jupp Heynckes built. That team had won the treble. He reduced them to rags. But let me move on.
You see the way I'm looking at you.
I'm just giving you a premise. I'm giving you premise. You understand? So that you can actually appreciate
you never cease
the
to amaze
angle.
me. You never
I
cease
do
to
not
amaze
need
me.
to cease to amaze you. But let me throw in the Tuchel bit. You throw in Tuchel to this Bayern team. Death.
You know, this Bayern team are not scary.
You throw in Tuchel to this Bayern team.
But you know, this Bayern team are not scary. A lot of people have not watched this Bayern team.
Let me tell you why. Over the short period, Tuchel is a better coach tactically than Pep Guardiola.
That I very much disagree.
You can disagree.
That I very much disagree.
Hold on. You can
You do not sit there and make this catastrophic statement by saying Tuchel is a better manager tactically than Pep Guardiola. That's preposterous of a statement to make.
You can disagree, but the facts suggest otherwise.
Which is?
See,
which
when
fact?
Tuchel won the Champions League with Chelsea, there was a stretch where they played City 3 times.
That's true.
In 3 weeks.
That's true.
1 in the league, 1 in the FA Cup, 1 in the Champions League.
That's true.
All of the 3 different games that they played in the league, Pep Guardiola used a different set of tactics.
Yeah.
Tuchel neutralized it, beat him.
Yeah.
In the FA Cup, used a different set of tactics. Tuchel neutralized it, beat him well.
Yeah.
In the Champions League, where many have said that was City's best shot of winning the Champions League in contemporary times, what did Tuchel do? Looked at everything Pep Guardiola threw to him and said that, oh, okay, you, guy, I am going to beat you. He beat Pep Guardiola again in that Champions League final. Now, I think that pound for pound, this Bayern team is way better than this City team. There's nobody who can convince me that this City team is better than the Bayern team. No, hold on.
Yes,
They are. Bayern Munich is European heritage. And there are elements in this Bayern team who are champions. They have seen it all. Somebody like your good friend from Barcelona.
I have a lot of good friends.
Who? I mean, the instigator in chief. Thomas Muller.
Thomas Muller.
Thomas Muller is a born winner. Joshua Kimmich. You have people like Serge Gnabry, Kingsley Coman. These are relatively young guys, but they have experience in terms of the Champions League more than anybody in that City dressing room. More than anybody.
Actually, that's true.
You understand? See, we've talked about the fact that City have the best player. Somebody like Kevin De Bruyne freezes on the biggest of stages.
In a way, factually, that's
Has
true
he
as
ever
well.
proven on the biggest of stages? No. Erling Haaland is an experiment. In Germany, I do not think that Erling Haaland is anybody that people from that Bayern dressing room would fear. Because they've been to battle with him 1,001 times. On 999 times, they've beaten him.
But you know, he's been during those periods where he was bossing the German
Del
league,
Clasico.
the German league with Borussia Dortmund in terms of his goal contribution.
Oh, that's fine. That's fine.
In terms of goal scoring, that's what he did best.
All I am telling you is that if you take Thomas Muller out of that Bayern dressing room, there's nobody in that City dressing room who comes close to him.
That's true. I mean, nobody can debate that.
And so if you go into that game, Pep Guardiola, Thomas Tuchel, players in the dressing room, contextually, in terms of European heritage, nobody can convince me that City are going to walk out of that game against Bayern. Okay. A Bayern team coached by Thomas Tuchel. City are going... This is the last stop for City. So I expect Bayern to finish the job in England. Indeed, people have said that, City have scored goals for fun and blah, blah, blah. Yes, I'm tipping City to win the EPL. But in the Champions League, they are a different animal than the Pep Guardiola. Pep Guardiola is a coward. Anytime he's traveled away in the Champions League, he pulls the handbrake. You understand? Have you ever wondered why? Yes, you can score a lot of goals against Leipzig. That's fine. That's fine. You can hit Leipzig for it because that's not the serious part of the tournament.
He hit 4 past Real Madrid, not just Leipzig. They put goals past literally everybody.
Past Real Madrid when?
Last season.
And they qualified?
It's not about they qualify. You spoke about they scoring.
No, but if they did not qualify, then if they did not qualify, then and they put 4 past Real Madrid, it means that Real Madrid put more past them in the final analysis.
Real Madrid actually beat. You know what happened at the Santiago?
No, what was the scoreline at the Etihad?
That's why, it is.
What was the scoreline at the Etihad?
They beat Real Madrid by 4 goals to you. Is it 4-3 or 4-2? Yeah.
So what's the first?
It was 4-2. And
no, what's the first?
Real Madrid beat them 3-1 at the Santiago.
What's the first? I mean, obviously, if you want to go into the nitty-gritties of those scorelines.
So they went past them based on away goal rule.
Which one?
Real Madrid.
Those are the technicalities of the game. Those are the technicalities of the game.
4 goals in the net of almighty Real Madrid.
All I am saying is that Tuchel is a better tactician than Pep Guardiola. Indeed, outside the circles of Barcelona, Pep Guardiola has not proven enough in the Champions League. It's been more than a decade. It's been more than a decade since he was relevant in the Champions League. In terms of contemporary times, Tuchel is a better point of relevance in the Champions League than Pep Guardiola is.
So you think that City are going out of the Champions League?
I think this is the last stop for City.
So I hold a contrary view, and obviously you know that when it comes to, it's not like I agree everything Pep Guardiola is good. Like one thing Kofi has said, which is true, is post his tenure at Barcelona, in terms of him making tremendous impact, in the Champions League, that he's met lots of stumbling blocks and he's failed in that manner. But I do not think that Tuchel is a better manager tactically than Pep Guardiola. Let me run by you guys head-to-head between Pep Guardiola and Thomas Tuchel. So they've played a couple of times. They've actually played 10 games in total. Pep Guardiola has won 5 times. Tuchel has won 3 times. There's been 2 which has ended in a draw. So Pep Guardiola actually has a better head-to-head against Thomas Tuchel. But some will say when it mattered the most, Thomas Tuchel picked Pep Guardiola to win. If you look at Pep Guardiola's impact tactically, I think Thomas Tuchel would envy what Pep Guardiola represents tactically. Because listen, we spoke about reinventing the game in a way. And if you talk about modern managers who
I think it's a myth.
Modern managers who have reinvented the game
it's a myth.
and introduced us to a reinvention of what football means, of what football represents. You cannot look past somebody like Pep Guardiola, who is Thomas Tuchel in terms of tactics and how the game is supposed to be played tactically. Yes, he's outwitted him three times when it mattered the most. Major one being the Champions League and the FA Cup. But I gave you their head to head. Pep Guardiola has a better head to head against them.
Hold on.
But when it mattered the most,
I think that statistics is skewed because a couple of more of the occasions, this was Pep Guardiola who was coaching Bayern then. And then Thomas Tuchel was coaching Dortmund. You understand? So that is skewed. But how do you explain to me that a manager who is less tactically superior will beat you 3 times in 3 different competitions
trust me.
in 3 weeks?
But I've seen that a lot.
When did you see that happen?
I've seen that a lot of times.
With Pep Guardiola?
I've seen that a lot of, not even just with Pep Guardiola.
3 different competitions.
Not even just Pep Guardiola.
3 weeks. 3 wins.
We spoke about these cup games and all of that, but I want us to look at the game in perspective. And you made mention of players who potentially could change the game. And if you look at somebody like Bayern Munich do have equally some quality players in their fold. So guys, I want to run by you some of the players in that game who could change the game or at the Etihad or even at the Allianz Arena in there. So for Bayern Munich, there's Manonea is out injured. He's been out injured for a while now. So Jan Sommer has been the one that is handling the post for Bayern Munich. But players that I think that people should watch out for is Alphonso Davies, who has been solid in
the best left fullback in the world.
I think that's true. He's arguably the best left fullback in the world. He's somebody that Pep Guardiola should look out for. The defensive pairing of Upamecano and Legit has not really blossomed, because if you look at when Legit came up in that Ajax, came up in that Ajax setup, which had Frankie de Jong and all those players in there, your man Van de Beek in there, Ziyech in there. That squad, Charlie, I don't know why they had to dismantle that squad. That squad was solid in there.
I think the move to Juventus nearly marred his career. But if you've been somebody who's watched the Bundesliga, I think that he's been a better fit at Bayern Munich than he was at Dortmund.
There's also Juventus. Joshua Kimmich in the middle, who's a player that City should look
Joshua
out for.
Kimmich, give me Goretzka.
So no, but young Goretzka is out injured. He's actually been past fit.
He cannot be injured.
He's actually been past fit.
Give me Goretzka.
Jamal Musiala has been past fit. But I think that the threat of so for somebody who speaks about Joshua Kimmich was made by Pep Guardiola.
No.
He made. You see, Joshua, when he went to Pep.
Let me tell you.
But when he came,
let me tell you why.
Let me help. When he came, he was a right back. Mm-hmm. His reintroduction or his redefinition of positions in midfield was down to Pep Guardiola, because at the time Pep Guardiola introduced somebody like their captain, Philip Lahm, in the midfield. Mm-hmm. The player who constantly deputized for him was Joshua Kimmich. So he literally took over from him under the reins of Pep Guardiola. Let's give him the credit now. This is a man who does wonders.
This is something that has to be put on fact. No, you see, Philip Lahm was transformed by Joachim Löw.
This I disagree.
Philip Lahm. No, Philip Lahm. Go and watch Philip Lahm in the
transformation of Philip Lahm from right back to midfield is down to It's down to Pep Guardiola.
No.
Then from Joshua Kimmich, it's down to Pep Guardiola. Not to Josh. I disagree with the Job Heynckes bit. Philip Lahm in midfield. It wasn't even that. He learned how to use him in the middle of the park because of Pep Guardiola. That for me, I would acknowledge what Pep has done.
That's not anything serious. Hans Medendo. This ex-saxophone striker.
No,
it's not Sekufo. This saxophone striker. No.
turned Osei Kufo from a defender to a striker.
So it's not new.
Oh, so
it's not new.
It's
not new.
But these are some of the players, guys, we should watch out for. Leroy Sané, Sadio Mane. But Sadio Mane, since he returned from injury, has not been the Sadio Mane
himself.
Or again, there's also Serge Gnabry, who's been playing pretty good football. So there's a lot of players to watch out for in that game. For me, that game will be decided over 2 legs. 1 leg cannot decide that game, because I still think that there's a lot of football to be played in that game. On the side of City as well, there's somebody like the 100 million pound player, what's his name, Jack Grealish, who post the World Cup has 4 goals, 5 assists, been playing some of the best football in his career. There's always good old Kevin De Bruyne. But one thing Kofi said that I agree with him is the fact that he freezes on the biggest of stage. I'm yet to see him at the biggest and highest of stage, Kevin De Bruyne, be the Kevin De Bruyne that we all hail him for. But there's always somebody, he's one of the unsung heroes in that team. Ike Gundogan, he's just brilliant.
No,
he's just
player's
brilliant.
player.
He's just brilliant. So these are some of the players to watch out for. Then Erling Haaland, I think that it will be a good matchup. Haaland, the late Haaland, Upamecano. That will be an interesting matchup. Come Tuesday, City take on Bayern Munich in that Champions League quarterfinals. I think that the team that actually goes through from that side will eventually win the Champions League. Whoever goes through from the City Bayern Munich side will beat anybody that comes from that Real Madrid
team.
I
disagree.
Anyway, Kofi, let me do a quick round.
They all still need to go through Real Madrid.
They all still need. That's what I'm saying. If Bayern Munich goes through, Bayern Munich could beat Real Madrid. If City goes through, City will beat Real Madrid.
Well, I think Napoli is winning the Champions League this season.
That's an interesting thing to also look out for. But you can give us your prediction, who you think would win the games that we've put across. City, Bayern Munich on Tuesday, Real Madrid, Chelsea. They say that game, I shouldn't even talk about it because that game has been played already. And it doesn't look good for Chelsea at all over 2 legs. But I always believe in surprises. Don't be surprised what will happen. Let me take you around the world in other sports. So I'll start from the world of UFC. So for guys who have been following the UFC division, he's arguably a Hall of Famer right now. Israel Adesanya, a Nigerian born, currently living in America, defeated Max Potan Pereira. So if you followed Max Potan Pereira, he's one of the deadliest fighters in the UFC 287 division. So just like boxing, they deal with weight category. So Israel Adesanya was the former champion. He lost his title to Max Potan Pereira. These guys have put together 2 bouts, but the first time they fought was 6 years ago in Brazil, where Max Potan Pereira knocked out Israel Adesanya. But for the title fight, Max Pereira beat Israel Adesanya 2 years ago. So Adesanya has actually been looking forward to regaining his title since he lost it to Max Pereira. But going into this bout, a lot of people did not think that Israel would be able to do the unthinkable, because I've watched Max Pereira fight, and that guy he's a proper fighter. He doesn't smile, he doesn't laugh. He just comes into the game and he does his business. But Kofi, yesterday, for some reason, Israel was able to take all the shots that Max threw at him. Then one outrageous blow to Max Pereira's head took him out, knocked him out, and Israel regained his title. And I look at the division. There's Alejandro Pereira. There are other guys in that division, but I'm still thinking that because nobody could beat him until Max Pereira came out.
Yeah, I think that yesterday's game was epic. You've already spoken about the fact that Israel is already on his way to.
He's a Hall of Famer.
He's a Hall of Famer.
He's a Hall of Famer.
And I think that if there was one thing that really hunted him, he had to be losing the title to Max Pereira. I understand that. So
weirdest of
exactly.
ways.
So yesterday was virtually a redemption.
Yeah.
It was a proper comeback fight for the Hall of Famer.
Yeah.
And I think that we stated previously on this show that for people who like proper action,
If you want proper
It has to be
beating.
the UFC. You
You want
understand? I
proper
mean, it
beatings.
has to be the UFC
Yeah.
because I mean, there's a combination of blows and your feet and all
It's a
of those.
mixed martial art, so
Exactly.
everything
So
goes.
everything goes in there. I think it was a good fight yesterday.
Yeah.
A very good fight,
Yeah.
and I was very surprised that Israel had to come out.
Oh yeah,
I was very
I didn't
surprised
think that he would be able to beat Pereira. I
because
didn't
he
think
was
he would
the
be able to beat.
ultimate underdog.
I didn't
And
think that he would
coming
beat Pereira,
into this particular bout, I felt that it was going to be difficult coming up against Pereira, who, like you said, he's methodical. You understand?
fighter.
He does not dilly dally.
No, he's a
Engaging in all of the flimsy things. He goes straight for the action. He goes straight for the point.
Gets the
And so
business done.
gets the business done. He's just like a young Mike Tyson. You understand? I mean, no time to be emotionally attached, no time to dilly dally with all of the useless punches and combinations. Gets the job done, walks out of the ring, and I'm happy. Redemption for Israel.
Adesanya. But in that same division, there's the UFC 289, where Leon Edwards 2 weeks ago did a triple against Kamaru Usman, that Nigerian, and that they call him the Nigerian Nightmare. I felt that, ironically, when I felt that Kamaru Usman could regain his title, he couldn't regain his. I don't know if you get an opportunity again, but sorry, another solid fighter in there. Let's go to golf. So news coming from the Masters indicates that Tiger Woods has actually pulled out of the Masters in Augusta, Georgia, out because of injury. He was actually on his way to making the third round. He was shooting 2 under par, and he was looking like, okay, Tiger can actually make a push to the leaderboard, but he had to withdraw as a result of an injury. As we speak, let me run by you who is leading. So his name is actually Red Kofi. How do you pronounce this name? Koepka. Koepka. So he actually leads. Yeah, he actually leads, entering into the final round with 12 under par. For those who know golf, you know what I'm talking about.
12 under par is minus 12.
Exactly.
In golf.
So
in golf, it's simple. The lower the score is, the higher you are. So if in golf, you start from 0.
Yeah.
So if you want to go above, that's called above par. So when you go over par, when you go +1, +2, +3, +4. So the higher you go in terms of the numerals in the pluses, it means that you're having a worse game.
That's true.
So when you come to the underpass, then you have the -1. You start from -1. If you make a birdie, it's -1. If you make an eagle, it's -2.
Yeah.
If you make a hole in short, depending on where that hole in short has been picked from, it could be a -3, a double eagle, all of these other things. So the lower you are, so if it's 12 under par, it means it's -12. You understand?
Yeah.
So if it's -12, depending on the hole they are, and it must be put on record that because of bad weather, the Augusta has been delayed. So in all likelihood, it will finish tomorrow.
Yeah.
You understand? They will be finished tomorrow.
Yeah.
So depending on which hole they are playing, and they play an 18 hole round. Per round.
That's very, very, very. For me, it's hectic.
It's hectic because if you know golf and if you know the Augusta, every year they try to redesign the golf course so that the difficulty levels are extremely difficult. You understand? There are holes that you have to. There are 3-course holes, there are 4-course holes, there are 5-course holes. So for a 5-course hole, you would have to do it in less than 5. You would have to hold it in less than 5 to make a birdie.
Yeah.
If you make it in 5, it means it's called an even.
Yeah.
So it means you get a 0. If you make it beyond 5, then you go to the over par. You understand? So
this is what you get with Sports 101. Maybe we are confusing people, but listen, we give you everything you need to know. It's not just football, it's not just boxing, it's not just, name the other sports. So another tidbit as well for you to take note of is the fact that Lionel Messi reached 1,000 club contribution goals yesterday with his assist for PSG. And basketball. So the season is almost wrapping up, and we are heading towards the playoff season and the play-in tournament, and some teams have already booked their play. So if you look at the West, teams like the Denver Nuggets have look like they've won the West. There is the Memphis Grizzlies who are second in the Phoenix Suns who are third.
No, then the Phoenix Suns are, I think, fourth or fifth.
The Phoenix Suns are fourth.
Because
they lost against
the Sacramento Kings are third.
Yeah, the Sacramento Kings are third. The Suns losing to the Lakers when they dropped all those players in there, thinking that it makes them fourth. Then there is the Golden State Warriors as well. For me, excuse me, if you look at the West quickly, a quick one on basketball. The teams that have gone through in the West, I think the West is already settled. We are looking at teams that will probably make the play-in tournament. And look at the teams that have gone through in the East. Who do you think that would come up trumps in terms of if we will eventually win the NBA championship this year? Between the West and the East, who is coming up as a champion? Because the East is presenting the Milwaukee Bucks, the Boston Celtics, the Philadelphia Sixers, the Cleveland Cavaliers. Let me try and get you there.
The
New York Knicks, the Miami Heat, the Brooklyn Nets are in there. The Miami Heat are in there.
Atlanta Hawks.
The West is coming. The Lakers are in there. The Grizzlies are in there. The Denver Nuggets, the Phoenix Suns are looking very, very deadly with Kevin Durant in there. Let me add, I saw an interesting stat and it's crazy.
Yeah, anytime he's been in the lineup, they've won 8 straight games to zilch.
Anytime he's played this season,
I know you're a Kevin Durant fan.
He's lost just twice. And for a 7-game series, you need to beat them 4 times.
Yeah.
Whenever he's in the fold. Yeah. So if he's lost just twice, what does that mean for the other team? That probably when they have faith, do you think let's answer that, because it was a question that I saw somewhere. If the Phoenix Suns are fit, which team can stop them?
It'll be hard. It'll be absolutely
Devin Booker is playing one of the best basketball we've seen. If they are fit.
When it comes to the Phoenix Suns, I think that first of all you'd have to give it to the coaching. I think that Monty Williams, he's done a fantastic job with this crop of players. And the Phoenix Suns have made trades that people do not understand. For example, exactly.
I was a bit, because
I think that what they do have is a mix of experience, grit, and then tenacity. The Phoenix Suns in their backcourt, they have Chris Paul, an established Hall of Famer. You understand? He's somebody who would walk straight in the Hall of Fame. And with Chris Paul, there's an interesting story with Chris Paul. Chris Paul nearly teamed up with Kobe Bryant and then Paul Gasol.
That's true.
So for many people who have said that, Chris Paul never won a ring. The NBA commissioner, Adam Silver, then had to veto that particular trade. Yes, he had to veto. He had to veto that trade. So Chris Paul ended up with the LA Clippers. He never got the chance to play with Kobe Bryant and then Paul Gasol. And Paul Gasol, that particular season, went on to win the NBA championship. You understand? So there's Chris Paul. He's the ultimate facilitator when it comes to the NBA. Then they have a big man who was a number 1 draft pick. DeAndre Ayton is there. Then you have one of the best mid-range shooters ever. Devin Booker is there. Then you have the purest scorer in NBA, Kevin Durant.
Apparently, he says, if you listen to colleagues after, he's unguardable.
He's unguardable. I mean,
it takes something to stop him when he's in his element.
Kevin Durant is unique because for a guy almost 7 feet,
so lanky,
his footwork and his skill set, he can do everything. He can shoot mid-range, he can shoot 3-pointers, he can dunk, he can defend, he can do everything. You understand? So Kevin Durant, when you have him on your roster, and it must be put on record that Kevin Durant is the reason why the Golden State Warriors won the last 2 trophies that they won. Indeed, when he got injured, you understand?
When they went to the final
against the Raptors, who were with Kawhi and all of the Danny Greens and all of those other people then.
If he was fit,
he would have won that title. So Kevin Durant being added to the Suns is a big plus. You understand? Because you look at the Suns and how they had to I was tipping them to be the Western Conference champions last season. You understand? Because I think that in that matchup with the Dallas Mavericks, before they met the Golden State Warriors in that Western Conference final, I think that the way they collapsed at home to the Dallas Mavericks, it was unthinkable. Now with Kevin Durant in the mix, they're one of it changes the whole dynamics.
Let me run by our viewers and listeners, those who are loving basketball. So currently ongoing is the Lakers are taking on the Utah Jazz, and the Lakers are leading by 5 points. There's 79-72 in the third quarter. The game is just 8 minutes in the third quarter. It's still ongoing. That's live. The Dallas Mavericks are taking on the San Antonio Spurs. The Spurs are leading 88-78. Also in the third quarter, they've played almost 6 minutes 39 seconds. There's also the Memphis Grizzlies taking on the Oklahoma City Thunder. The Oklahoma City Thunder leading by 64 points to 61 in favor of Oklahoma City Thunder. There's the Denver Nuggets who are taking on the Sacramento Kings. That would be an interesting game to watch, because the Kings for me have surprised me this season. They've been playing some of the best basketball, and for them to
Mike Brown has done a fantastic job with the
solid with them.
Kings.
The Clippers are losing to the Phoenix Suns as we speak. It's halftime. The Suns lead 53-48. The Golden State Warriors third quarter blowing away the Portland Trailblazers 100 points to 64. The reason why there are so many games going is because they're literally wrapping up the regular season, heading towards the playoff season and the playing tournament. So the last but not the least, the New Orleans Pelicans are taking on the Minnesota Timberwolves, who have booked their place in the playing tournament. The New Orleans Pelicans are leading 58-47. Then ended games that have ended. The Pacers beat the New York Knicks for 141 to 136. The Cavs lost to that's surprising. They lost to the Charlotte Hornets 106-95. The Bucks also lost to the Toronto Raptors 105-121. The Houston Rockets beat the Washington Wizards 114-109. So that's what's happening in the world of basketball. Let me get to the comment section and take some few comments, then we wrap up for the show this evening. I'm sure you guys have enjoyed the show from start to finish. I've enjoyed the show myself. So I'm a Warriors fan, but this year's championship belongs to a team in the East. So this is coming from Kevin De Gea. Feels that, he feels that the East, I still think the champion will come from the West. Charlie, the West is stacked. Even the Lakers, the Lakers, a lot of people are not looking at. They could pull up a surprise.
But I think the East is loaded. I trust the Boston Celtics.
Really?
I think that Milwaukee are also playing some very good basketball at this material time.
So we put out a poll there, which we're asking, will ManCity eliminate Bayern Munich? And 78% actually believe that they will not eliminate Bayern Munich. 21% believe that, just 21% believe that City will eliminate Bayern Munich. So let me take this. Israel Adesanya has incredible stamina, an absolute unit. That guy he's a proper Nigerian. I don't think Pep made Kimmich. He always preferred Thiago and Alonso. Then you did not really watch them. But one of the reasons why Thiago did not like Pep at Bayern was because he felt that he wasn't playing him constantly. ManCity, as usual, will choke away from home. Simple. Pep will smell pepper again. Lucky pa, Chelsea can't even score relationship goals. Hey, which one is relationship goals? This our fans mom there, they can be weird though. Okay, guys, so thank you so much for the comments. Thank you so much for those who sent the super stickers. God richly bless you. So, hey, keep the super stickers coming. But every Sunday, what we do is that we sit here and we wrap up everything that has happened throughout the entire week. We take you more or less like we give you a round trip around the world in the world of sport. Myself, Kofi Asedu, Percy, the team, we sit here. That's every Sunday 7 to 9 p.m. We are live on YouTube, as well as we are live on radio, Tardy FM 99.1. So for those who don't have the opportunity to watch us live on YouTube, you could listen to Tardy FM. If you are in the Western Region Enclave, listen to Tardy FM 99.1 FM. Then Saturday as well, we do a live show. That's when we sit down in a relaxed atmosphere and serve you the best of sports analysis. Saturdays 8:30 a.m. to 10 o'clock a.m. Saturdays 8:30 a.m. to 10. So watch out this Saturday. We are live Saturday mornings 8 a.m. to 10. Kofi, any last words before we check out?
Please subscribe to the channel and watch all videos, and then share the
link is very, very important.
The comments in the comment section, and stay tuned to us. Time without number on Tardy 99.1 FM.
We'll give you the best when it comes to sports. So this afternoon, I did the show with Kofi.
This evening.
Hey, you see, that's the problem. Because of where we are shooting from, I didn't even know that it was evening. Yeah.
Well, good evening to Ralph.
Yeah, good evening to Ralph, mate. You know, he's doing the job. But hey, this evening I did a show with Kofi Asiedu. Hopefully next week our very own Percy Bonnie will join us. But for all those who joined us live from 7 to 9, it's been a great time with you. Hopefully we'll see you again on Saturday and on Sunday.